Nigeria. Good morning, 042, and a beautiful morning to everyone watching today. You're tuning into Sunrise on ANEKE TV, where every sunrise begins with delightfulness and bring you today's daily dose of brightness. I am Deborah Wakoba, coming to you live from our studio here in vibrant Enugu.
And good morning to you, our global audience. I'm Uche Osai. Wherever you are, at your desk, in transit, or even making breakfast at home, thank you for letting us into your space. This beautiful morning, we're here to refresh, inform, and motivate.
Yes, and it's Friday, 9th of January 2026, and of course we've got that full package today where we've got our latest news, what's trending, and of course that special sunrise vibe to help us begin our day.
So get comfortable, grab that cup of coffee or tea, relax, enjoy the cruise, because the sunrise is here.
Yes, and here on Sunrise today, we'll be starting off with our quote of the day, with words that are thoughtful, words that are inspiring, and words that offer insight to whatever we do to help us stay focused, stay well-driven, and be motivated.
Then, it's straight into the day's top headline. All the key news updates that you need to remain informed will be shared. Very hot and tasty.
Yeah, and after that we'll be giving you our quote for today, covering major cities in the southeast and beyond, so you know what to expect before you step out, or if you've stepped out already, it's to keep you throughout the rest of the day.
And then we'll wrap things up by bringing you the man of many parts, the sports oracle and the commissioner of enjoyment, with the Nigerian stock market update.
All right, now moving over to our quote for today in our morning show inspiration segment. Our quote from today is coming from C.S. Lewis, and in his quote it says, "You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream." I'm going to take that quote again, coming from C.S. Lewis. In his quote it says, "You are not too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream." And this quote means that age should never limit your ambition, no matter how old you are or what you've already experienced. You can still set new goals, change direction, and dream again. So life always offers opportunity for growth, learning, and fresh beginnings. So if you're willing to pursue them, now we shouldn't take the fact that we're old or we've passed the age of achieving a dream or even having a dream, that age is just a number like they always say. So we're never too old to achieve a dream or dream a new dream. Mr. Ocha, I'd like to know your thoughts on this quote.
All right. You're never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. You've spoken to the issue of age, but let's take another dimension to it. Looking at age in this stance, speaking to men, my brothers and sisters who are in the market as always, that's where I always like to start from. When I look at age, never been too old to set another goal. Yes, this is January. We're still in that first month of the 12th month calendar. So it doesn't matter about your age or the number of years you've set up your enterprise. You're in the market. You are into, buying and selling, involved in one transaction or the other. And over the years, you've gotten to what you feel is the peak because you've been over 20 years in the business. This morning, we're telling you that is not just, it's not just the number. You can start afresh. You can set new goals. You can dream again. And perhaps the business is no longer thriving as it used to be, and you felt that after all these years, you're too tired, you're too weak to start. We're telling you this morning, at this first month in the 12-month calendar, to set a new dream, set a new goal. Is attainable, is achievable. Age can't stop you. If you've done it before, you can't do it again. You can set afresh. You can pursue new goals. You can pursue new dreams. And this morning, C.S. Lewis, gives credence to that. Yes, that you can start all over. You can start fresh. You can dream anew. And those goals are realizable. And let me take it to those who are in the business, beyond the business enterprise. It could be a career, and you've seen yourself being stagnant for a while. C.S. Lewis is telling us this morning that it's never too late to set new goals. It's never too late to dream again. You can set new goals. Yeah. You can dream afresh. And one thing that is certain is that it's realizable. So as we are in this very first month of the new year, you can set goals, you can set dreams, and what matters beyond setting those dreams is that it is achievable. If you can dream it, then you can get it. So this morning on Sunrise, we are telling you, not just stay idle, don't stay stagnant. Like we always tell you, the fatal failure is that when we take stock come December 2026, that you're still at that same spot. No. Like Martin Luther King did say, take that step. That first step is what matters. And you've started well by dreaming. Like C.S. Lewis did say, you never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. So, dream afresh, set new goals, set new standard, work, take that step, and that's where the success begins, in taking that very step. So, this morning on Sunrise, dream again. Dream again. Set new goals, they are realizable, and don't let 2026 meet you at that very same spot where you are now, because that will be a collateral failure.
Yeah, thank you very much. Like you rightfully said, you're not too old to have a dream, that we should all dream again. And while you're doing so, remember that each new sunrise is a platform for us to grow. It's where we try something or learn something new every day. So please do let us know what this quote means to you. You can drop your thoughts on our social media handles like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, or at ANEKE TV, or call our phone number 070-3043-7110. And up next is our weather report.
Yes, we'll take a look at the weather report across major cities in the southeast today.
Yes, and we'll be starting off with Oka. Good morning, Oka. You're starting the day with hazy sunshine and warm temperatures. So expect temperatures to climb from the low 20s this morning into the low 30s by mid-afternoon. So look out for that golden glow through the haze until late afternoon, then a clear and pleasant evening.
And good morning, the coal city. Welcome to Enugu. Your skies will be partly cloudy early on, but don't worry. Sunshine is making a strong comeback by late morning with hot temperatures into the mid-30s. Perfect day to step out. Just don't forget your shades or sunscreen.
Yes, and in Abakaliki, the clouds are giving you a soft morning welcome, then steadily clearing into sunny skies and rising heat. You'll feel the warmth building into the mid-30°C range. Think happy, hot, but dry.
And over to the city of Owerri in Imo State. Good morning. You are greeted with hazy sunshine at dawn. As the day progresses, the haze turns into bright sunny warmth with temperatures nudging the low 30s. Evening cools down as smooth under clear skies.
And in Umahia, good morning Umahia, you're in for a hazy start that straightens out into sunshine just like your neighbors. Warm temperatures through the day will make it great for outdoor plans. Just stay hydrated.
So, wherever you are in the southeast today, stay safe, stay cool, dress light, but do remember that either rain or shine, we've got you covered. And that's your weather report here on Sunrise on ANEKE Television. We'll go on a short break and we'll return with more news updates.
Looking for a window to the world? A place where news, entertainment and culture come alive. Welcome to ANEKE TV, your ultimate destination for stories that matter and moments that inspire.
At ANEKE TV, we bring you breaking news, exclusive interviews, and live events coverage, all with accuracy, integrity, and a fresh perspective. From the heart of Nigeria to the far corners of the globe, we keep you informed, entertained, and connected.
Whether it's sports highlights, music and lifestyle trends, or community stories that touch lives, ANEKE TV is more than just television. It's your companion in every moment. Rich, vibrant, and truly unique, our programming celebrates the diversity and energy of Nigeria while keeping you at the pulse of the world. Don't just watch TV, experience it, live it. Move with the world with ANEKE TV. Follow us on all our social media platforms, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all at ANEKE TV. Because at ANEKE TV, the world comes to you.
ANEKE TV, move with the world.
Sunrise on ANEKE TV. Now we'll be taking a look at the newspaper for today, coming from the Nation, Punch, Vanguard, and the Guardian newspaper.
And joining us for this in-depth analysis and reviews is our in-house analyst, Mr. Res. Mr. Res, it's good
Thank you. Thank you for having me once again on Sunrise Newspaper Review.
All right, and with us again is the man of many parts that will speak of Good Hope, the man, sports oracle himself, and commissioner of enjoyment.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. You're
Today
welcome.
we'll look at where you commission these enjoyments because he's not getting into the studio as well.
All right, now moving over to the newspaper for today, coming from the Nation headline that says, lawmakers, why Fubara should go. And the Punch paper says, Rivers in turmoil, APC leaders intervene as Fubara faces fresh impeachment threats. And in the Vanguard headline, the headline there says, impeachment, APC, Rivers Assembly at war over Fubara deputy. And on the Guardian paper, says, Fubara may meet Tinubu as Rivers row escalates with Assembly probe. We can see across the newspapers today one message about Rivers State being at its political crossroad with impeachment threats, party interventions, and possible presidential mediation on the table. And we'll be starting today's paper from the Vanguard and the headline that says impeachment, APC, Rivers Assembly at war over Fubara deputy. Now the Vanguard paper is highlighting an open clash between the APC leadership and the Rivers State House of Assembly, while lawmakers appear determined to press forward with impeachment proceedings against both the governor and his deputy. The APC leadership is reportedly urging caution, and the paper is noting that internal disagreements, legal battles, and political rivalries have deepened the crisis, raising fears of a prolonged power struggle that could paralyze state activities.
All right, River State in the news for the same reason, and I would say the wrong reason this time, because we are not speaking to new projects commissioned for the people. We are not speaking to the state assembly and the governor, dragging over new initiatives that will improve the life of the people. We are looking at same scenario that played out in 2025, leading to state of emergency in River State. Mr. President's intervention to see that peace is restored, that things return to normalcy. And indeed, Mr. President, I would say, magnanimous to toe the line of the Constitution to return democracy in River State. But above all that, it seems that it was a fragile peace, and we are bound to be trenches. Mr. Ress, I have a position on this, but before we go into those details, let's get your view about these happenings in River State.
Well, it is a recurrent decimal in River State. This is the third impeachment move against Fubara. It's not just the first, it's not the second, it is now the third. You said Rivers is in the news once more. Yes, it has always been in the news, and for the wrong reasons. Because all along, it's been this feud, peacemaking, fragile peace, problems again, and all that. Fubara and his godfather have not been the best of everything since he was elected. And sometimes some schools of thought or some persons who have done some analysis on that relationship said that Fubara and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, who was the former governor, that Governor Wike was overbearing, and because he's overbearing, that is what snowballed into the situation. Because at a point, it was said that before anybody visits the government house, it must be approved from Abuja. before you visit Fubara as governor, it must be approved from Abuja. The appointments made were made by the man at Abuja. And every other thing that was being made was made by the same man. So at the point, somebody was in Abuja acting and playing de facto responsibility, while Fubara, the governor, remains de jure. It is not done. At a point, when you push somebody to the wall, when you push, and when one gets to the wall, there's no other place to go to. There's no other place to go to. When you push, take a force and push to the wall will now, back up to resist your pushing against whatever you are pushing. And that is exactly what happened. So because of that, it said that Fubara did not obey the peace agreements made. And primarily, the primary peace agreement is that he should not think about coming back for a rerun, and which many observers and contributors to that discourse have said that it is against his fundamental rights. Now, nobody makes an agreement that is against the constitutional provision, what is provided in the Constitution for any individual. Then you begin to make an agreement. It's a breach. And to the extent of that, inconsistency with the Constitution, is to the extent of its inconsistency with the Constitution, is void. So how can a former governor tell a sitting governor you should not rerun? There's nothing that bars him, nothing ever should bar him from having a rerun. If he reruns and fails, that solves it. That depends on the voters, if they don't give him the franchise, he will go back to his home, to his house, and become a former governor. And now he has joined the APC. And joined the APC without Nyesom Wike carry him to join the APC. Nyesom Wike is not even in APC. So, because he joined the APC, Nyesom became irritated that he took a step outside what he should determine for him, because he was already determining everything for the governor.
All right. I will let you, continue to x-ray the issues in Rivers State. But first, let's listen to the Speaker of the Rivers State Assembly while he was speaking on this issue.
Distinguished colleagues, let me thank you so much for your contributions. In fact, I want to very sincerely thank you for rushing to the chamber when you got the memo from the clerk informing you that the House will be reconvening today. You cut short your holiday and your meetings with your constituents. Members, we were on recess and we had to call off this recess to serve the good people of Rivers State. I want to thank you very sincerely, very distinguished colleagues. You have indeed shown that you love Rivers State, you love your constituents. I thank you so much. Distinguished colleagues, the motion heavily presented by the Deputy Speaker and the Honorable Silvanus Wanko, which is a motion to decline actions on the medium-term expenditure framework, MTEF, and the appropriation bill 2026 until investigations on the allegations of gross misconduct against the governor and deputy governor of Rivers State are concluded. This motion, I must say, going by what members have also commented, is actually a motion that is good and is in the best interests of Rivers State. 26 members of Rivers House of Assembly have brought allegations against the governor and the deputy governor. It is important that the process be allowed to go through in line with the provisions of the Constitution. And the particulars of gross misconduct have a lot to do with presentation of budget, refusal to present budget, spending outside the appropriation law. Distinguished colleagues, one thing very interesting is what members also indicated in that notice, but we're not here discussing the notice, but we're only making reference to it, which is that there is a notice and the process of impeachment is on. Distinguished colleagues, enough is enough. If they want us to forget the legislature, we leave the legislature. Let only the governor and the deputy governor spend as they like and eat our money and do as they like. Why were we elected? Why do we have the legislature? Why can't we be allowed to do our job? Distinguished colleagues, I thank you for your contributions. We will follow this impeachment process through. The Supreme Court has confirmed that the governor has committed offenses against the Constitution. Let the course, let the law take its course. The law has to take its course. Mr. President, we thank Mr. President. He's a father. Mr. President has done his best. Mr. President has spoken to the governor. In my presence, Mr. President told the governor, I'm giving you a second chance. The governor refused. He gave him another one. The governor refused. How many times will the Mr. President call us? Distinguished colleagues, I thank you for your contributions. Prayers have been properly canvassed by members. Those in favor of the prayers of this motion should indicate by saying ayes. Aye. Again, say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, by this motion, this House hereby condemns the refusal of the governor of Rivers State, Sir Simla Efobara, GSSRS, with support from the Deputy Governor, Professor Ngozi Mma-Odo, DSSRS, to present the medium-term expenditure framework, MTEF, and 2026 appropriation bill in line with the Rivers State Fiscal Responsibility Law 2010 and the Constitution, respectively, as well as their reckless spending from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of Rivers State. 2, this House is declaring that the House will not proceed with any action for presentation of the medium-term expenditure framework, MTEF, and appropriation bill 2026 until the investigation of gross misconduct leveled against the governor and deputy governor are concluded. Distinguished colleagues, these are the prayers. Thank you so much.
We'll listen to the Rivers State State Assembly Speaker, on this issue around gross misconduct, which they are leveling against the governor. And a lot of things were said, and if you listen to that remark by the speaker very well, you see that he is quite agitated. He is visibly angry, and before we started, I did say I have a position on this issue, but before we start taking positions, I will still let you, Mr. Rest, to continue to, x-ray these very issues. But I would want to, bring the conversation to a little balance. The individuals in question, we're speaking to the governor, we're speaking about the State Assembly. Now, before the law, one thing is obvious, that the Constitution empowers the State Assembly to investigate the governor and possibly impeach a governor. Under the Nigerian Constitution, Section 188 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic, as amended, did empower them to investigate and possibly impeach a governor for gross misconduct. And when you listen to the allegations leveled against the governor, these are issues within the ambit of the law, not speaking to the politics of it. One question I would want us to bear in mind while we'll continue to have conversation on this issue is, did the governor violate any aspect of these laws leading to investigation and possible threat of impeachment. The governor has been served a notice of impeachment. The process has started. We know that by the constitution, the process starts with the state assembly. And then there are other processes before it will be concluded. Just to bring that to focus, why we have this interaction. Mr. Rez.
Okay, well, there are claims that the governor has been asked to bring the 2026 budget. But we should recall that during his suspension, a budget was done by the administrator and sent to the National Assembly, which they approved. That budget is still running. That budget is still running. You cannot, it has overlapped and taken into 2026. So there's no way, because that budget was passed, somewhere in March. There were other claims, although they said it's gross misconduct. Gross misconduct is impeachable, yes. There's no two ways about it. So, but one has to think about the underlying factors before you arrive at gross misconduct. And if you are going to even impeach him, a letter has been forwarded to him. It will be, of course, the Speaker of the House, Amaule, Speaker of the House of Assembly in Rivers State, said it will be delivered in 7 days to Fubara, the governor, and the deputy. So, when they deliver it, Fubara will have to reply. After reply, they will also send it, ask the Chief Justice of Rivers State to set up a committee and give the committee a time during which they will holistically look at the merits and the merits of the impeachment move and see if the claims of the House of Assembly were, good enough for the impeachment of the governor, and they will recommend so. So it is still a process until the committee meets and says indict Fubara. Then one will now begin to talk about, the wrongs of Fubara, because it is like a court. The indictment is like the indictment of a court of competent jurisdiction. So when you begin to say Fubara is indicted, you cannot indict him as at now, because it has not even gone to the committee. So until the process gets to that point, you can now begin to conclude. But then, the speaker, from the way he spoke, was emotional about it. He allowed his emotion to actually take over whatever.
Mr. Rez, do we call that emotional?
Yes, emotional. He was angry, emotional.
Angry at the misdeeds or wrongs of the governor.
Yeah, you see, even if the governor is wrong, he does not call for such anger before the members of the assembly and the world. He's supposed to.
He was speaking to the violation of the Constitution.
He's going through a process. He's going through a process, and the process is a process of a legal process. So you see, does the judge, who is called a loquacious judge? A judge who steps into the arena of the court, a judge who becomes a prosecutor instead of being a judge, instead of listening. Do you understand? When you allow your emotions to come in, there are chances that it will influence your reasoning, whichever angle you want to. Do you understand? You won't be dispassionate. You won't be controlled by the provisions of the law. Going straight through the provisions of the law. You saw him shouting, as if maybe he was shouting. Was he shouting at the audience or to the members of the assembly or to
He
Fubara.
has to convey the urgency of the issue.
It's not even shouting does not convey urgency.
Well, you say
He was actually
Okay.
trying to, say it as he's feeling. I can tell you that.
That's emotion, feeling, yes.
The way he feels.
All
But
right.
it does not rule out the fact that what is said is said. And right now, from his own point of view, he was trying to, let them know the urgency. This is a problem that we need to tackle together, that has, been raised. So what are we going to do about it? Enough is enough. And when something goes into enough is enough, there's always this urgency, something to, spike that emotion out of you to announce it. We need to do something. I feel that's where.
all right, Mr. Reyes, let's move away from the emotions of the speaker and look at the issues at hand.
issues, yeah.
Okay, we can
That's
start.
exactly
We can
what I
start tracing where did this scenario start. Let's trace back to 2025, for example, and leave the emotions of the speaker.
If you go back to the underlying factors behind the imbroglio in Rivers State, it may not all be about gross misconduct of the governor. You see, if you look at what has been playing out in Rivers State, as during the first impeachment move, what were the issues about? What were the reasons for the impeachment move? Is it gross misconduct again? How long has he been in office before that? It was in September. It was sworn in 29th May. So in September, the first move to impeach Fubara came into being. So, and I want to ask, has he done those things then? So what were the actual things that prompted his impeachment then? Has he done those things that I'm not talking about?
For me, I will tell you that this gross misconduct, that is on the table now about the governor, just like Mr. Reyes has said, is actually not it is not something that we could say that just came from nowhere. It is an engineering, a political engineering that happened over time, right from 2025. Now, I wanted to ask a question. Has the gross misconduct, are the things which he did, are they being spelled out somewhere?
Sure.
That these things are what he did.
Sure.
Basically, that when you read it, it is aligning
That's
with what the court of justice or the lawmakers are bringing up right now.
You see, I said impeachment started June, July, August, September. Impeachment started barely after 3 months in office. So it is not the current impeachment. This one is the third one. So when did Fubara commit the gross misconduct in the first impeachment? And what were the things that he did? That is exactly why I'm saying that there is an underlying factor that brought in the impeachment moves. Each time they are clinging on impeachment because somebody wants to remove Fubara.
Yes,
So
exactly.
what's the underlying factors?
That
here?
is exactly what I'm saying. The underlying factors are that somebody wants to play the facto governor while Fubara remains dormant and de jure. That is exactly what I'm saying. His predecessor, that is said to have helped him to become the governor, wants to dictate the tune. He wants to rule from Abuja. He wants to do everything. That is why I said it earlier, that you don't go to government house except Abuja approves of it. Abuja approving of it is about the Minister of Federal Capital Territory. How can you tell somebody to be a governor and nobody visits him except you approve it from Abuja? Is it done? It's overbearing. I said it earlier that the overbearing attitude was what brought in the feud. And because of the fact that the same person who brought Fubara into the government house also brought all the members of the House of Assembly, and they are all loyal to him. So because of that loyalty, whatever he tells them to do, that they did. Remember that they had earlier cross-carpeted to APC. Yes. When Fubara went to court asking them to leave their seats, giving the legal interpretations of cross-carpeting for members of the legislature, they went back, the court also came back to say they did not cross-carpet. You understand it? Yeah. People, it was on audio-visual everywhere that these people on newspapers and so on, they openly announced that they have moved. But the court said, no, it is not about movement. The movement means if they were properly registered as members of APC and then nullified that. Fine. Now, the second impeachment came and another peace talk was done. And the president provided the peace. But today, because of the fact, what irritates his mentor most is that he has gone to enter the APC and become the #1 citizen of APC in Rivers State. Yeah. And the man is not happy because that will make him to have a rerun, which is part of the agreement. And he has been going about throughout the Utah season, going about campaigning and saying, you have not fulfilled the agreements reached. Mr. President called you, and during that agreement, we said you should not rerun, and you are saying you are going to rerun. So how can that be? You don't, hold agreements made tight. But these were all verbal agreements. It's not cast on stone. Nobody wrote anything. He did not sign an agreement. And even if you sign an agreement that is obnoxious, that is inconsistency with the provisions of the Constitution, it is null and void.
All right, Mr. Reyes, we'll continue to look at this issue with a view to, seeing how this issue could be resolved, not absolving any party involved. But before we still go at the issue, let's take a look at what the Punch newspaper said on this very issue.
All right, now moving over to the Punch headline. The newspaper headline there says, Rivers in turmoil, APC leaders intervene as Fubara faces fresh impeachment threat. Punch paints a picture of a state on edge with tensions rising. Top leaders of the All Progressives Congress, APC, that have stepped in to prevent the crisis from spiraling out of control. The newspaper reports that behind-the-scenes talks and emergency meetings are ongoing as impeachment threats against Governor Fubara's resurface. The APC leadership is said to be worried that prolonged instability in Rivers State could damage the party's national image and disrupt governance, especially in the oil-rich region.
All right. This brings the very perspective I'm looking for on this very issue. And Mr. Reyes, when we talk about this issue, for me, we will not discuss this in isolation of the state of emergency that we had in Rivers State. Being that the situation, got to a crescendo where the president had to intervene to ensure that, peace and order was restored to Rivers State. But be that as it may, like I did tell you when we started, I have a position on this issue, beyond perhaps the position of the editorials and my directors on this. My personal view on this very issue, and I speak freely, for example, is that the political players in Rivers State in this whole matter has been reckless. The political players in this whole issue have been reckless from each of the sides, because we are returning to the very scenario that led to state of emergency in Rivers State. Speaking about the Nyesom Wike himself equally has not, applied, if I may, political wisdom in the scenario that we're seeing. And that does not mean to exonerate Fubara. Yes, all the time we want to blame Wike about this situation. But beyond Wike, can we take a look at Fubara here? Because what is Wike all about? Yes, it's within the right of the governor as the #1 citizen of the state to take certain position, and perhaps as is allegedly reached in the agreement that he may not seek a second term in office. Let's uphold that as a part of an agreement allegedly where he was told not to seek a second term. Yes, perhaps he may have agreed to that, as at that point in time he still, as a human being, may want to change his mind to run for a second term in office. But there were agreements that were reached. And again, despite that agreement, where we saw him, there was a video of him speaking about Wike, speaking about Mr. President, the peace that they now enjoy, the length they went to. One thing that is obvious is that Wike is supporting Mr. President. Fubara too is supporting Mr. President. And Mr. President did intervene. And we are getting back to square one. Now, while I do not wholly exonerate Wike of or absolve him of any involvement in this issue, now I look at Fubara. He is not the first state governor who has never been in control of his legislature, but that's why I say that on the matter, he has not, he has not been politically savvy in how he's handling the whole issue. There have been governors who had a majority opposition in their state, and the question is, how did they handle it? The issue in Rivers State is not the first time it's happening in any of the states. In Enugu State, for example, during the era of Chimaroke Namani and Jim Wobodo was in Abuja. Yes, we knew he was instrumental to installing the governor. But what happened? Chimaroke somehow was able to win over his state assembly, such that at the end of the day, Wobodo lost out. Chimaroke had his way. What we expected after the peace that was brokered by Mr. President, and he was given a second opportunity, that he would work in tandem with the State House of Assembly. Look at the scenario in December, where he gave them a gift that was rejected, a party gift. Even at your level, at my level, I may reject a gift of 100,000. Then speaking to the State House of Assembly, that's arrogancy from the governor. He didn't invite them for a dinner. You sent over a party 100,000. That was telling them, and as it's been claimed, that he has no regard for the legislature, telling his followers that they can do nothing, as we heard the speaker say. So when you bring this whole issue together, I tell you that Fubara himself is not a saint in this whole issue. So we need to bring it all together. And I tell you, that's why I'm happy at the news from the Punch. APC is intervening. Yes, it's a process. And I can tell you that he may not be impeached, because I expect the APC to intervene now that he has moved to the APC. Unlike the former scenario where they were all in PDP and PDP was rudderless, I expect the leadership of APC to intervene, because the legislators at the State Assembly are all members of the APC now, like you did point out. So I will expect the party chairman, the party organ, to intervene in the issue. And beyond that intervention, they both support Mr. President. So I see a political solution to the whole scenario at the end of the day. But beyond that, I tell you, if Wike is impeached tomorrow, nothing will happen. Fubara, heaven will not fall. The most we will see, Nigerians will protest. And after that, they will move on. He won't be the first governor that has been impeached. Remember in Kaduna State, Balaribe Musa was impeached due to his stubbornness. When he was in PRP and he had the NPN majority in the legislature, he was served notice stubbornly. He refused and he was impeached. What happened? So I dare say the governor needs to sit up. One expected that after he was returned to office, that he will embrace all the Rivers people, the legislators, mediate, and not, since he moved to APC, we saw the arrogancy, the arrogant way he moves about, making hidden remarks. And what would one expect? The situation we are witnessing in River State. So, when I did tell you that none of the parties in this scenario is decent, none of them, can be excused in this scenario. Fubara, as much as Wike, is culpable as well. And we did talk, and we always talk about what is the issue at stake. I have mentioned Fubara has the capacity to win his state over. We saw Wike moving around, going around, trying to get the people over. That's what we expected from the governor, to win his state assembly over. And now, since he moved to APC and he now feels that nobody can do anything, things can happen. But like I did mention, now that he's in APC, I expect the governor's forum to intervene. I expect the APC to intervene. Mr. Rest, I know your position may differ from mine. Let's get your views on this.
What else do you want to get from me on this when I've already taken my position? I said, you see, it is a serious problem. One thing that is very interesting is that the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, wants River State, and he has River State already, because both parties on both sides of the problem are both supporting Mr. President. The only thing, actually was that Wike, who is also working for APC, because as the Minister of Federal Capital Territory is working for the APC government, though he's still in PDP, in a faction of PDP. The members of APC are beginning to say that it's a kind of using so much powers, energy in trying to determine what happens even in APC. You see, as a non-member of APC is not supposed to actually say what happens. So if he has a candidate, let him promote a candidate for elections and let his candidate win. The issue about whether this man, promotes the agreement reached in terms of running for a second term is neither here nor there. It doesn't exist. So if he has a candidate and he's popular in River State, that politics and democracy is a game of number. All he needs to do is to promote his candidate, endear the candidate to the people, and let them floor Fubara. You see, creating problems here and there to the detriment of the masses. The masses are suffering as a result of that problem in River State. The achievements that the government ought to have made, they use this period of problems, the achievements are not done. Those things are not done. Developments are not done. If Fubara would have done 20 things, he will end up doing just 3 or 4. So it is very wrong. But then, like you said, our expectation is that members of APC should be able to resolve that crisis, because it is, primarily on their table. It is an APC versus APC in the present circumstance, if Wike is put on the other side. Members of the House of Assembly, most of who are in APC too. So let them resolve their problem. But if you think that what they are doing is justified, why are all these people coming, to ensure that the situation is resolved in favor of Fubara? Why? If Wike has been on the best of side, why are all the people, members of APC, Governors Forum, members of APC Governors Forum, members of APC as a whole, the secretary of the party, and every other person are all, talking and, disenchanted about the move. So that tells you that there's a whole lot of sympathy for Sim Fubara.
Okay.
And based on such sympathy, you find out that there are certain considerations that were made before these sympathies were evoked.
All right, all right. I agree to sympathies, but I still want us to take a look at the issues.
Is not a saint.
He is no saint.
He is a Nigerian.
And he's politically naive.
And he's not from the moon.
He's politically naive.
He is part of the weak, whatever. He's one of the members. He's one of those legislature members. Because he was a permanent secretary. So they all know one another. So he ought to know what to do and how to go about it. But, all these things depends on how, they were all recruited. The recruitment matters.
Anyways, but looking at the merit of the issue at stake, there is undertones. But when you look at the charges that have been leveled against him, speaking to budget presentation, Lagos State is the biggest in terms of when you talk about budgeting and budgetary allocation due to the population and the size of the state as well. The governor of the state has presented a budget. Why is it difficult for Fubara to make a presentation? Across the federation, all the subnationals, almost all the states has presented a budget. What is so difficult for him in presenting a budget? The time he used to lobby people in Abuja to prevail on the assembly members to overlook the issue of budget would have been used to make a budget presentation. So what is so difficult in presenting a budget to the state assembly? Every other person has done that.
Let me ask you, at what point, at what time was the budget of Rivers State done in 2025? I'm asking you.
Mr. Reyes,
irrespective
of the time it was done.
It was done. That budget was done. I told you here that budget is still running. And you are now coming to say that they must quash the running budget.
It is already a running budget.
Are they quashing a running budget to come and then do a fresh budget that will start immediately? You should allow the running budget to run, yes, because there's been a lacuna. The budget
that was running was from who?
Yes, that is the lacuna. That is the time that he was suspended.
No.
Made it, impossible for him to present that budget. It was the sole administrator that did the budget, approved by the National Assembly, and that budget is running. And when was it done? How many months ago?
No.
That is exactly
what. What would they expect? What would they expect? Like when he is back, what would he have done? What would they expect? Okay, there is a running budget. What's wrong in going to the state assembly to present that position? How incorporate the running budget into the 2026 appropriation bill so that you streamline and have a wholesome budget? Remember that when this same issue did go to the Supreme Court, and that's where I'm sorry for Fubara, that the mandated him to go back, present a budget, because this was the same situation that led to the 6 months state of emergency in Rivers State. And we are on the same issue. That's what I'm about. And if this whole process is allowed to go through and he goes to the Supreme Court, I'm sorry, I see a situation where the Supreme Court will turn their backs on him, because he failed to implement their judgment or heed to their instruction because he didn't. And the judges, like, in football match, when you don't heed to the referee or the last man's instruction, next thing is to give you a card. So I pity him. That's why I speak to his political naivety and what I call political arrogance in his position. So this situation, Mr. Reyes,
justice gotten by Wike are such justice that has been gotten by Wike.
No, these is a judgment of the Supreme Court.
Whatever it is.
This is a judgment of Supreme Court.
Of course, people have criticized the judgment of
But
Supreme Court.
at the end of the day, people did criticize the Supreme Court
the
that
latest judgment on
there is always criticism on every judgment.
The judgment, even the judgment on the recent judgment on the Fubara issue, that is the suspension issue, the state of emergency. Of course, some judges came out and said that even the president had no right to suspend an elected executive or legislature. He has right to do a state of emergency. But he doesn't have the right to suspend, to remove. You cannot. There's no place it is in the Constitution that an elected executive can be removed through a presidential state of emergency. It can only be removed through this, what is happening now. That is the impeachment. That is all. There's no other thing that will remove a governor that is sound. Do you understand? The other things that could make a governor leave when he found to be incapable, incapacitated, or that. But outside that, it's only impeachment.
Yes, and when I did speak to impeachment, you understand, when I was talking about this, a situation where, I was trying to narrow down to a situation where the APC is unable to resolve this very issue and it leads to impeachment. What will be the outcome? You understand? At the end of the day, the law will be the law. Let me rephrase, by retracting that word, of nothing will happen. But what I mean by that, when I was trying to say, is that the law, it becomes a law. It can only be challenged in court. Irrespective of the fact that maybe perhaps we would want people to, protest, and at the end of the day, the law will be followed through. And let me equally withdraw when I said I use the word being stubborn, but I am of the view that the position, that the governor is taking, should be soft-tuned such that he would accommodate everybody. You understand? He has to embrace everybody because embrace peace. Because, for example, in Sokoto State, when Tambuwa was the governor, we saw a state assembly that was majority, the PDP. They elected an opposition member to be the speaker. And a governor was able to manage such situation. We've seen governors good. So we're expecting that.
But you remember that
Fubara should soften up.
P2B at one point was impeached.
And he did go to court.
Good.
That's why I speak to
when you talk about impeachment and whatever thing that is claimed to have been done, you say Supreme Court said he has done it, which is an indictment. Then the Supreme Court should have asked him to even leave office.
No, the Supreme Court instructed that he should go and present a budget, which is why I'm speaking to, if this issue should get back to the Supreme Court or the same scenario of budgeting, he has not presented a budget. So one may begin to, wonder how the judges, the learned judges will look around at the issue. But be that as it may, what we expect, like you did say, is a position that will enrich the people of Rivers State.
When was the judgment given? The presentation of a budget.
Yes, before the state of emergency.
Thank you. Is it 2026 budget?
No, but the point here is that the point here is, Mr. Reyes, the point here is,
everybody is asking him to present a budget when he has reason not to present a budget. You say he goes to Supreme Court. So it's not about that. It's about what had happened earlier.
Yes.
But
So the judgment
at the end of
has
the day,
nothing
at the
to
end of
do
the day,
with the presentation
no,
of
but at the end
budget
at the
now.
end of the day, the judges will equally look at was their instruction, was their judgment carried out? You know, because you won't say that that judgment at the end of the day won't be a reference point.
That budget presentation has been overtaken by event. A budget has been done for River State in 2025.
Who did?
And somebody who was appointed by the president.
Then the elected governor now returned. We're still on the issue of budget presentation.
did
But
not-
that's why he's been is part of his
Excuse me.
alleged offenses.
Did he quash the
He had
budget
to
that
follow
is
through.
running?
He had to follow through.
The National
What
Assembly,
has been-
a legitimate body, approved that budget. The National Assembly. And it is running. And you are telling me that if he comes, he will just quash everything.
No, he had to build
Ah,
something
yeah,
so
man.
that
All
it
right.
can be.
I wonder.
All right, I invite us to watch and see how the scenario plays out. We'll continue to analyze these issues as they continue to unfold, and we'll continue to take our individual and collective position on this very scenario. The point remains that whatever is happening in River State, you know, that the people, the masses, should be considered. The plight of the people should be, you know, taken to account. Having said that, we would move over to the sports oracle to let us know what's happening in the sports world this morning.
All right. So, in the world of sports today, there are many things that happened just yesterday in the Premier League. And the news that we have just now is that Antonio Semenyo has moved officially to Manchester City. Antonio Semenyo of Bournemouth has moved to Manchester City, and he is currently the Manchester City player. I want us to talk about AFCON because a lot of news are really around the match between Nigeria and Algeria, and talking about the unpaid bonuses that was just announced yesterday, that will be paid, that has been already sent, that they will receive in their domicile accounts today, unfairly today. And talking about the way Algeria plays and how Nigeria also plays. I don't know, Mr. Rex, how do you see, what are we expecting from Nigeria, Algeria, seeing that these guys are also, you know, matching Nigeria in the ANEKE, and they became the only team who scored up to, who got 9 points, of course, just like Nigeria, who won their 3 matches in the group stages. They are the only team with Nigeria, seeing that they match almost with every capacity that Nigeria has, they match it. What do you think about the match?
Algeria is a team that is technically sound, and in all the departments of the game, they are good. Nigeria, as a country, I have said it here, and I've continued, and I will continue to say it, that Nigeria have improved with every match.
Okay.
That is to say that each match they get into, they do better than they have done.
Okay.
So the expectation is not going to be an easy match. Of course, a better side will certainly win.
Yes.
But for me, as Rex, I am patriotic, and I believe in my country.
Yes.
And I believe in my country more so when we have not been able to give the Nigerian populace the World Cup ticket. And I think that the Nigerian team will work very hard to ensure that the ticket they didn't give to Nigerians, they may, you know, do something to assuage the feelings of the people.
Talking about that too, I would like to come to Ms. Tuche right now, because we that are Nigerians are expecting the best result tomorrow, seeing that we have played the games and we have scored many goals. Even the match just against Mozambique, that we scored up to 4 goals and there was no concession. We did not concede any goal. That means that, like Mr. Red said, we have been improving and we have kept on with the improvisation of our team. What do you think about the midfield that the Super Eagles coach has gone to reinforce, because if you look at football, you will see that one of the components of football is the midfield, and our Super Eagles coach Eric Chelle has reinforced the midfield by bringing in the best hands, looking at people like Alex Iwobi, playing a pivot role in the midfield. And I don't know how you see that, Mr. X. What do you think about Nigeria's midfield compared? Sorry, Mr. Uche, sorry. Okay. Compared to Nigeria's midfield.
The modern football, for me, over time, has been, reshaped such that is the midfield that usually dictates the pace of every match. Your exploits in the field, your success, win or lose, more often is keyed in at the defense. So they've done well so far, and one would expect that, like Mr. Rez did say, they continue to improve. But we'll take a look at the fact that they are playing Algeria. And where is Algeria in Africa? Algeria is not Africa, right? And they are not African teams have been always our banana peels when it comes to football competitions. So one would expect that, taking this into account, that midfield will come with their top game. Let it not be a day where you begin to see a different midfield. They have to be on top of their game in that match for us to have a chance in overcoming the Algerians. So I expect the Nigerian team to be far better than they've been, to be on top of their game. But this is going to be, for me, the biggest test they've yet seen in this tournament.
Well, yes, it's going to be the biggest for me and for other. Just like the match is tomorrow by 5 p.m. we're going to face one of the toughest opposition that we could say is in the AFCON so far, and that would test the strength and everything we have been preparing over the years as a country. And just 2 days ago, our head coach Eric Chelle marked his 1 year in the office. And looking at the stats, he has only lost one match from the whole thing. He has played matches of about more than 50 games, but he has only lost one game, and that is so commendable. Talking about where he's from, he's Malian. He's from Mali. So, and looking at how he has improved the team shows you that there are lots of things we expect in the coming days. Now, moving on, we have to see the newspaper, the sports paper for today, and the things that are happening in the world of sports. There are lots of informations also from the English Premier League to transfer news and other things. You will see that at the headline we have Garba Lawal having his exclusive interview where he had to make some remarks that are kind of touching to AFCON. But I want us to look at the few things that are happening in the transfer world, in the world of transfer. Talking about Chelsea not interested in Vinicius. Well, Chelsea has been there's been this rumor that Chelsea wants to, make this get Vinicius to their team, having the likes of Estavio and Garnacho. Adding Vinicius could be another issue. While Chelsea just the other day made a change in their coaching staff, where they signed the RC Strasbourg coach to join Rosenio to join the team. Well, moving on from that, you have Semenyo, like I've told you, completing his deal, his Manchester City move, and Lookman rated top footballer, to one of the tops in this AFCON game. Our players are really doing well in AFCON, I will tell you, and they are giving their best to what we could say is the best from the playmaking and everything. Now, look at what Anthony Joshua has said, that he would not continue boxing. He's going on retirement, and the family supports it. But here in the newspaper, we have him yesterday posting emotional tribute to his friends who lost their life in the car crash at the Ogun Expressway. That was so. I read it, and I read what he wrote. It was so sad from everything. But going now, you will see Juventus planning to make that purchase of Chiesa from Liverpool. Chiesa went from Liverpool, from Juventus to Liverpool. Now, you know what happens a lot in the league is that many people, if the football game does not favor this person, they will now go back to where they came from. And when they go back, you will see that the person will start playing again. So, do you think that this Anthony Joshua, that is he too young to retire, or to say that because of the experience? Do you guys think he's too young? Or
well, whatever are his reasons for this retirement are best known to him and his family.
Yeah.
Because what happened to him is not a very good thing.
Yes,
God
yes,
only
yes,
gave him a second chance.
Yes.
So possibly he must have looked at things the way it happened. After winning a major tournament, and he came back to Nigeria only to just survive by whiskers death. So the reason for retiring may be just a decision between him and his family members.
Well, you know that in boxing, a lot of people say they are retiring and they still come back. Just that the other day, Usyk said that he's coming back to fight. That he said he retired last year, July, after he finished the boxing game he had. He said he's retiring. But Mr. Uche, do you think he's too young because of what happened to him? Do you think it's time for him that this retirement will just be something he needs to do now?
Well, after that very accident, I wouldn't say that his retirement or coming out to announce a retirement from boxing is surprising to me. But what was surprising to me is the time it came. I was expecting that to happen, but I was thinking maybe it would take a longer while. I wouldn't see him fight before he finally makes an announcement of his retirement. Given the magnitude of what happened, I expect that first of all, the trauma that he went through, I was expecting that, he will go into therapy. Then from therapy, we'll talk about rehabilitation. But we can't stay here, and begin to, because we don't know what, the health situation, his health situation as it is. Perhaps from the opinion of the medical experts who have advised him to, that it's better you retire. Boxing is a sport that takes a lot on the individual, even after a lot in preparation, a lot of beating, in the sport. You've seen loss of boxers after retirement. They begin to suffer Parkinson's disease and other ailments. But be that as it may, I think, given the magnitude of what happened, it's a very good decision for him to step aside for now. And if it's for health challenge, yes, it's the right time to call it quits.
Yes.
But if it is for a rehabilitation process, there's nothing bad that maybe after 2-3 years, he may want to come back.
But using that word retiring, it's to me, when it comes to sports, when someone says I'm retiring, we could say from football that this person is just hanging his or her boots. But I've seen that it's not the same when it comes to boxing.
In as much as we are talking about sports here, these are different sports, right?
Yes.
In as much as, yes, in football, we say that football is a contact sport, but talk about the magnitude of contact. You are talking about boxing where, each blow could weigh up to 50 kilograms. Yes. So when you take in these beatings, you've seen a lot of them. Even some of them lose their motor activity in the ring, due to the blow they sustain. You've seen a lot of knockouts and all that. So yes, it's sports, but it's different contact sports.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of difference. When footballers retire, is always as a result of age.
Okay.
Do you understand? Perhaps injury. What you were thinking when I saw Jejo Kocha retired, I happened to be opportune to meet him, at one event in Lagos, and I was looking at him. The daughter that just got married was so little, clinging to him, at a hotel where we were. And when he came out, I took a look at him. And in my mind, I was like, why did this young man retire from football at this age? I was looking at him so young. I was like, why did this man have to retire? Do you understand? But he knows his age, his health, his condition. He's tired.
Yes.
I now listened to an interview. He said, there's a point you get to and you're tired. You can't continue going to these early morning trainings and all that. So these are different scenarios. For footballers, when they go, they go. embossing a lot of factors.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much. And I hand over to Deborah.
All right, thank you very much for that, Good Hope. And now moving over to our business stock update for today.
All right, that brings us to the Nigerian stock market update for today. That's for yesterday, please. Thursday, January 8, 2026. The Nigerian stock market sustained its bullish momentum with all share index ASI gaining 0.13% to close at 160,806.56 points. The upward trend added approximately 137.35 billion naira to investors' portfolio, bringing total market capitalization to 102.82 trillion naira. This milestone follows President Tinubu's recent commendation of the market for surpassing the historic 100 trillion naira mark earlier in the week. Let's take a look at the top 5 gainers. Pharmaceutical and tech stocks dominated the gainers chart yesterday. We see 9net International, which is a pharmaceutical company, closing at 7.77 naira 70 kobo, making a plus 10 positive adjustment. We see another pharmaceutical stock, May and Baker Nigeria, closing its book yesterday at 26 naira 20 kobo, making a plus 9.85% adjustment. Then on the top position is It Transat International, closing its book yesterday at 13 naira 65 kobo, making a plus 9.64 positive adjustment. And we see Multiverse Mining Exploration closing its book at 21 naira 30 kobo, making a plus 9.51% adjustment. We are seeing another pharmaceutical stock, Nuclear Industries, closing its book at 74 naira 95 kobo, making a plus 9.42% adjustment. Despite the overall market gain, several stocks faced significant sell-off. And on the list of losers, we have the top 5 as number 1, International Energy Insurance, which closed its book yesterday at 2 naira 73 kobo, making a minus 9.90% loss adjustment. Where they are followed by ABC Transport, which closed trading yesterday at 4 naira 47 kobo, making a negative adjustment of 9.88%. Then they are followed by Austin Lars and Company, which closes book yesterday at 4 naira 58 kobo, equally making a negative 9.84% adjustment. Then we see Corn Oil PLC closing trading yesterday at 169 naira, equally making a negative 9.72 adjustment. The last on that list is Veritas Capital Assurance, which closed trading yesterday at 1 naira 77 kobo, making a negative 9.69 adjustment. Then when we'll give you a rundown of the summary of the market yesterday, trading activity saw a total of 645.02 million shares exchanged in 44,380 deals valued at 16.42 billion naira. The most traded stock by volume yesterday was Charms PLC, which led the volume chart with 60.5 million shares, followed by Linkage Assurance and Tantalizers. And then on the performance of the market, notably, we saw a situation whereby index 0.15%, we are among the notable gainers, talking about the consumer goods industry. They were the top performers yesterday. But as we speak, you're aware that the market is open and trading has commenced. But we warn that before you make any investment in the capital market, please do consult a financial expert due to the volatility of the market.
All right, thank you very much for that. And now this is where we'll call it a day on Sunrise on ANEKE TV. And please do not forget to follow us across our social media platforms, across Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, all at ANEKE TV. Or call our phone number 070-3043-7110. It's always a pleasure having you here on Sunrise every morning. I am Deborah Wakaba.
And Mr. Reza, thank you for those in-depth heated debates on River State.
Thank you. I keep watching ANEKE TV.
And Mr. Good Hope, the man of many parts. It's good to always have you on Sunrise.
Thank you very much.
All right, and I'm Uche Osai. Remember, you're not here to be average. Be unique. Keep watching ANEKE TV to come your way same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.